In previous lessons, we've discussed how to maximize performance of large assemblies. We're going to continue that here in this lesson by talking about speed packs. Let's open up the Engine for Motion assembly one more time. This is probably in your File menu of recent SOLIDWORKS documents. The speed pack was added to SOLIDWORKS several releases ago, and it was primarily established for a couple of reasons. First of all, it allows you to take a large subassembly, make it manageable, and put it into an upper-level assembly. It also allows you to make mates to it and add dimensions in a drawing by including specific geometry. A speed pack is basically a visual representation of a large assembly that includes actual geometry from certain faces or bodies. Only the actual geometry can be mated to. Speed packs are implemented as derived configurations. So let's take a look at the Configuration Manager tab. We can see under Config 1, if we expand that we have a speed pack, but our speed pack is out of date. So let's create a new speed pack. Notice how this speed pack is indented underneath the Config 1 configuration. That's because the speed pack is a derived configuration. Its content always depends on the upper level configuration. So if Config 1 changes, then the content of Config 1 speed pack will also change. Let's change to the default configuration and right-click on Default and Add Speed Pack. Notice that Speed Pack is right above Add Derived Configuration because the functionality is similar. The best speed pack, or the most effective speed pack, is one that does not include any geometry at all. But we have the options to include two types of geometry: faces and bodies. Remember that if you want to mate to a speed pack configuration, you will need to include geometry. So if we were going to put this assembly into an upper level SOLIDWORKS assembly, say the drivetrain subassembly, then we might want to include some items such as the crankshaft or any engine mounts that might be available. I'm going to include the main outer bodies, so the valve covers, the main engine block, and the oil pan. These will be not only visible, but also selectable. There is another option that you can use to enable this Quick Include option. If I click on this, enables this slider. And you might use this if you have a larger assembly with a lot more parts that you may want to have either selected or not selected. Quick Include automatically includes parts based on their relative size compared to the overall assembly. I'll turn this off to keep going. In the options, you see that SOLIDWORKS has the option to remove ghost. The ghost information is display data that looks like it's there, but when you go to select it, it's not really there. So let's accept this speed pack, and I'll show you what the ghost is all about. I want to make sure that I have the speed pack activated, and you can see the special speed pack symbol at the top level. If I flip back to the Feature Manager tab, there's also a speed pack symbol here, and you notice that all of the features and parts are missing from the Feature Manager. Notice also now that as I move my cursor over the engine, the only things that are available to be selected are the bodies that I included in the speed pack. Notice also that I only included the end face of the crankshaft, and so the entire body is not available, just the end face. If I need to select these to make mates to them in the upper level assembly, I can do it. Some people find this mode hard to work with because parts are appearing and disappearing in front of your cursor. but just remember that it's saving you a lot of performance whenever you use it. There's some other things in configurations that we need to talk about. If you right-click on a configuration, there is an option in here called Add Rebuild/Save Mark. And you notice that clicking on this adds a special symbol to that configuration. The Rebuild Save Mark enables SOLIDWORKS to save extra information with each configuration. Notice also that if you right-click on the upper level name of the assembly for configuration, under the Rebuild Save Mark option here, you can add the mark for this configuration, add the mark for all configurations, or add the mark for specified configurations. You can also remove the mark and purge data for all configurations. The data that's being purged is the data that would otherwise be saved if the mark is added. Please note that the ability to read configurations in a previous version of SOLIDWORKS that was implemented recently depends on this information being saved. So we're in 2013 here. If you wanted to read this engine into SOLIDWORKS 2012 SP5, you would have to have configurations with the save mark.